Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the government and political correspondent, and it is still spring, even though the weather doesn't tell us that. It is right around the corner. In fact, folks are out this week for the school district, and probably a lot of folks are on spring break. But we have an election coming up on April 4th, and our guest today is Lynn Wakefield. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Lynn, I just met you. It's kind of amazing. You've been in town 38 years. I've been in town 33 years, and we hadn't had a lot of interaction, even though your professional life was in teaching. It was in a Minnesota district, correct?
Correct.
And I've been on the school board for the last 10 years, but it was great getting to know you, and now we want to do that just for our viewers here. So let's start. First of all, you're here because you're on the ballot on April 4th.
Correct.
And the district you represent as a city council person is District 2, correct?
Yes.
All right. So this is your first election, and you've been on the council since October. So my civics that I took in school tells me you were appointed then.
Correct.
To an open position.
Correct. Bill Alms, his position.
Yep, and I knew Bill from his work at our church and so forth. Bill's a great guy, but had to move out of town, so that meant he had to give up his position. And so you were appointed in October, and to get that appointment, you had to submit
a letter of intent to the city council.
And why would you do that?
I have lived in Hudson since 1985. I'm interested in how our city, I've seen it grow, from where it was in 1985 to now, and very interested in having the growth or to maintain a wonderful city, a safe city where we can live.
Okay.
And so I've had an interest in politics, never run for anything.
And not partisan politics?
No.
Okay.
I really like the council as being, we're a group worried about a common goal.
Right. That's great. So then you applied, did a letter of intent. Give us a little bit of your background. We know that you have been in the city for 38 years, but what'd you do professionally, and what are you currently doing?
Part of that, I was a teacher for 30 years over in the North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale district, primarily in middle school.
The easiest grades, right?
Yeah. You have to have thick skin and a sense of humor.
Right. Yeah.
And served on many leadership committees district-wide, but also in the building, and have good experience in when an issue comes up, being able to look at multiple views, listen to multiple views, take information, and then make decision, knowing that every decision you make isn't going to be agreeable to every person, but to do what's best for our building. I retired and then decided to have a part-time job. So I am now a teller at U.S. Bank in Hudson, and I'm also a CASA volunteer, which is a court-appointed special advocate for St. Croix County, working with children in CPS.
Okay, and these are mostly at-risk youths?
They're in the court system in child protective services, or just I'm the advocate for the child. The other adults are...
They fend for themselves, but somebody's got to fend for the child. I am
solely for what's in the best interest for the child. And it's a volunteer position. Well,
thank you for that service. Now, having been appointed with that background, there's always that notion, I'm going to apply for this, and then you get in there, and you've been in there almost 5 months. Is there any surprise? How does it compare to what you thought it might be to what it actually is?
Well, I can tell you, watching a council meeting on TV is far easier. Things go much quicker. I feel like I have to get up to speed because many of the topics we were talking about had been in discussion prior to my being on the board or on the council. And so I've really had to do quite a bit of research, when the agenda comes out, to really make sure I know what exactly is on there. And I'm truly blessed with the group that is on the council, that I feel like we could listen to one another and Aaron and Mike Johnson are very willing to answer questions I may have or clarification.
These are city employees.
Correct.
Who are frequently attending virtually every city council meeting. But what people realize, whether it's school board or city council, you're making decisions as things come forward, and the amount of material is kind of like an iceberg. You just see the tip of the iceberg when you watch a city council meeting, but there's tons of research that you have to do. But in addition to written materials to review, you also talk to Mike and Aaron and try to find out, what.
And all the emails I get from people in the district that, have a concern about something. I received one about the quarry the other day. I immediately did some research back and looked for seismographic studies and things like that, and again, Mike was a great resource for that, so I could relay that information on to
Very
a
good.
citizen.
So a pretty steep learning curve,
Yes.
but you feel like you're up to the task so far? You don't feel like you're drowning at this point?
I do not. It's exciting.
All right. So we got why you applied, and now that you're appointed, and it's kind of a special situation where you, by statute, were required to run at the next April election, but the term that Bill had actually goes until 2024, correct?
Correct.
So you've been serving for 5 months, appointed. It'll be a 1-year special election and then a regular re-election should you choose to run again, correct?
Correct.
So considering that it's a very condensed time period, what do you see as kind of your highest priority for this next year? What do you think will get your most attention or focus?
The zoning changes as Hudson has grown, and there's less developable land remaining, so that's going to be redevelopment, and our zoning codes are being changed now because of there wasn't the condominium type things that were coming into Hudson when those were first done, but now that's become more of a focus. And so our zoning laws need to reflect that. And I really want to make sure that that Rivertown feel of our community stays in place, from architecture, not just infrastructure, but architecture, materials, size, being not negatively impacting surrounding buildings and businesses.
Okay. So with that, a lot of that focus is on the downtown then?
Yep, and I also, that the affordable housing, we just got some information about, there isn't as much affordable housing available in Hudson that are attracting families. And we have plenty of, especially with the hospital now, we need people that are willing to work there and not having to commute to that job. So to look at affordable housing as well, that we can support that. There are fewer 18 and under in Hudson right now, which affects our schools with enrollment going down. But it indicated it wasn't really a birth rate part. It was more that we're just not attracting families with children. So I think affordable housing would be also another focus.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of folks that are making around $25 an hour or less, which is a lot of workers in Hudson, and that can afford to live in Hudson.
Absolutely.
All right. So I guess that's a good goal to be looking at that. Any other, well, let's talk about the committees that you're serving on.
I'm on the public safety, which is with police and fire. I'm really enjoying that. My future son-in-law is a Minneapolis firefighter, so I'm really enjoying. I've toured both buildings. Definitely see the need that the police station, it's very, very crowded in that they need a new facility.
Okay. And public safety is the committee that you serve on there?
Yes, correct.
All right. So, and you mentioned your future son-in-law. I forgot to talk about your family because, you've been in Hudson 38 years. I presume that your children were raised here in Hudson?
Raised here, both went through the Hudson school system. And my son and his wife actually bought the childhood home he grew up in.
Okay.
When I moved out, they bought that home and have a business in downtown Hudson, 2 grandchildren.
Great.
And then my daughter will be obviously moving to Minneapolis when she gets married this summer.
Okay. What years did your kids graduate? Because
2006, 2011.
okay, 2006 and 2011. So at least your younger one was the same year as my youngest one, and I have 2 grandchildren as well. So what are your grandchildren's ages?
4 and 2.
Okay, and they live here in town.
They also live here in town, so I
So-
get to see them often. It's awesome.
That is great. Those are great ages. So, I guess that's what that folks look for, is to have somebody on the council that is open-minded, willing to do their research, and looking to make this a great place to live, not only for themselves and their family, but for others as well, regardless of income. Right?
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Absolutely, it's a great community.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell voters other than to get out there and vote? And they need to vote even though there might be only one candidate stated on the ballot.
Just, you can always contact your council member through the website. It'll have our email on there where you can
What is yours?
District 2.
Okay.
And, send us an email and we can respond to it. It may not always be the answer that you're looking for, but at least we can give you the good information or let you know that, we've heard what you have to say about something. We can pass that on to the correct people.
All right. Very good. Lynn Wakefield, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much
it.
for having me.
Nice to meet you. And I want to thank our voters for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin. I'm Jamie Johnson of the Lohman Abdul Law Firm. And I want to thank you again for your time, and thank you for getting out there to vote. Remember to vote on April 4th. Keep watching.